there marks something about the United States in between the year 1815 and the American Civil War. It is the incredible growth of the American economy. There are few periods in world history, much less in United States history, that see such incredible growth in an economic system. And there are several factors that you have to understand in order to understand what happens to the United States of America in that period. If you notice, there are going to be two words that we have to define before we can investigate, before we can understand this economic growth. One is antebellum. And if you took Latin, if you have any concept of Latin words, you'll know antebellum means before the war. And that word you will have to be able to understand the years between 1815, when we won the War of 1812, which is so very important, and the American Civil War in 1860. So in the antebellum years, we have to account for economic growth. Now there is one word that you have to know, and that is industrialization. It's not the only factor, but it's a key factor in what accounts for economic growth in that time period. Now, industrialization has a variety of different meanings at a variety of different times. In fact, in world history, you should have learned last year the exact definition. Ponder for a second what it means to industrialize. And you'll see in the course of our study today in this lecture and in class how we define industrialization. When you get that definition, then you're going to understand the question. And the question is, what accounts for the incredible and tremendous economic growth of the United States in the antebellum years? Now, if you think back, we've asked that question before. What were the options back in the colonial era to account for our economic growth? We had land, we had labor, and we had lust. Well, at this point in time, let's alliterate, but let's alliterate a little bit differently. What were the factors? Please identify those factors in your mind. And those might alliterate at some point in time into transportation. Think of all the different transportation devices that were there that allowed for American economic growth. It might translate into technology. The inventions, the incredible set of inventions that took place in the antebellum years that allowed our economic growth. Or maybe, again, it might be the average American worker and his or her ability to produce that accounts for it. So what we have in that case would be talent. So we have transportation, we have technology, we have talent. Of course, to the side, you can always put trade. Trade is always there. But what we want to do is identify those three factors as important for the antebellum years in American economic growth. More in the next lecture to follow.